Hey guys, and welcome to my review for the day. A week ago, I asked the Promenade to vote on which movie that I would be reviewing, and the movie that you guys had asked for was Aliens. So I kicked out my DVD, rewatched it, and pretty much enjoyed myself. But some people out there have said that Aliens, unlike Alien, isn't necessarily a horror movie, it's more of an action movie. And that's something that I completely agree with. And I think that speaks to the director of the movie, that it's something completely different. Something that happens in Hollywood these days is a lot of the times they'll remake the same movie, just give it a fresh coat of paint and ship it back out there. Same type of genre, same type of pretty much everything. And with some movie sequels, it's almost point per point the same movie. Point in case would be Batman Forever is pretty much the same movie as Batman and Robin, except Batman and Robin kind of dumbed down, the Batman Forever element. You both have a employee that works for Wayne Enterprises that turns nuts and then goes after Batman. That's pretty much Edward Nygma's character in that Batman Forever and Pamela Isley's character in Batman and Robin. So, yeah, it's a lot of times they do the same movie over and over again. Like with the Terminator, Aliens, that franchise did something completely different. Like when you watch Terminator, that was a really kind of scary movie. When you watch Terminator 2, that was more action-packed. And it's the same thing with Aliens. And again, Aliens is properly named. When you watch Alien, you only had one threat to deal with. Then you get to Aliens, and there's just a whole swarm of them, which they're not in the dark like in the very first movie. They're pretty much in your face the whole time, and I think that brings a lot to the realism of the movie. The movie starts off, for any of you who haven't seen it, spoilers, the movie starts off with Ellen Ripley. She's found, I think it's like 50 plus years later, and her daughter is passed away at this point, so she's kind of in a whole new situation where she doesn't recognize anybody or anything. The people think she's lying about what happened to the ship. They certainly don't believe her about the aliens, and then she comes to find out that there are people actually now living on this world that they had crash landed on, that they had landed on the first one. So they wanted to go back there once shit kind of hits the fan. And she's very apprehensive at first, but with having all those dreams, she has a lot of unresolved issues and whatnot, so she agrees to go back. You have a really good, I don't know, Paul Reiser was in this, and I don't know him outside of anything from, I think My Two Dads was a TV show that he was on, and then later on he was on a show called Mad About You, which I thought was really good. But this is the only other thing that I remember seeing him in was this movie, and so I thought he was going to be a really funny character, going back into it, and watching this, and he certainly wasn't. He was a good. I liked his character, and unfortunately, like I trusted his character. I didn't think that there was anything kind of shady about him, so he kind of pulled the wool over on my eyes in that capacity about wanting to keep the alien and transfer everything back to Earth. This movie, the Space Marines, is something that was introduced into this movie, and that's something that in the comics they're dealt with a lot. I don't know much about their background there, but these Space Marines, you could tell that they'd been together for a long time. There's a really good camaraderie with all of them, and that they hadn't really lost anything. They'd basically gone in guns blazing, and so they had the ego to show, which was really good because the more arrogant they got, I kind of felt like it added to the tension of the scene, because it's like they're kind of blowing smoke up their own asses about how cool they are, and as soon as the aliens come, to attack them, like over half their people are like wiped out. And I thought that was really awesome because it's like it really added to the gravity of the situation. And oh shoot, what's the guy's name? Um, he plays the loudmouth. It's on the tip of my tongue. He played in Predator 2, played in a lot of 80s movies. I don't remember his name right offhand, so forgive me. But he always plays kind of the same type of character, loudmouth, kind of the comedy relief. And honestly, he played the most realistic character because although he's cocky and kind of fun loving, he's kind of the character that is shitting his pants during the whole thing, freaking out. And that's honestly what all of us would do too, is freak out during the situation that that they're going through. And one thing that I really enjoyed about this movie, if I'm not mistaken, all of it was done without CGI. It was all pretty much practical effects. And looking at a lot of today's CGI, like those practical effects stand up, even today, against today's stuff. And I think that's really kind of cool because when anytime you can go to practical effects, like it adds like it's like that much more quality to it, And the aliens, they're really scary in this one. Like in the first one, you didn't really get a good glimpse of what exactly was going on, but you were scared. It had a very very mystique sense about it with what's actually in the dark. With this one, there's aliens crawling all over the place, in the sewers, on the walls, on the ceiling, like just anywhere, just trying to get to you. And it really gives a sense of claustrophobia. It gives you a real sense of impending doom. One of the story elements that I thought was kind of interesting was the fact that they introduced a character named Newt. And this kind of took the role of Ripley's daughter, per se. That emotional attachment that, kind of the motherly instinct for Ripley, which is a side that you don't really get to see, all that much because she kind of plays this hardcore person. But with that element, I thought it was kind of interesting considering the fact that she lost her daughter, and then here's this other person that she can kind of take care of. Not replacing her daughter, of course, but in a sense, that's exactly kind of where they were going. And I enjoyed that aspect of it. It kind of makes it more tragic when you find out in Alien 3 that Newt died, because it kind of made this movie, it was kind of like, all for nothing, a little bit more tragic for that Ripley character. But the one thing that this movie did that none of the other movies were fully fleshed out was they have these kind of mech suits, which like she fits inside the suit, and it kind of basically it's like a dock worker, and it's this metal exoskeleton type deal that she kind of gets in and does forklift type work with it. And I thought that was kind of a cool thing because it shows that she's not just a pretty face or a victim. Like she's someone who has a bunch of talents. So anytime you can kind of flesh out those things with the character, is really good. I watched the special edition for Aliens, and there's a cool fight that was in this one that I don't believe was in the theatrical version. I could be wrong. I'm not sure. I haven't seen the theatrical version, but from some people that I've talked to who haven't seen the special edition, they didn't really know what I was talking about. But there's a scene where at the very end she fights the alien queen inside this suit. And one thing about that suit was that was all done practically. The animatronics on that was outstanding. And I don't know, when you watch the movie, you can just tell that they put a lot of time and a lot of work into it to flesh out this world. A lot of times when people, these days, they want to do something, they just kind of splash a quick thing of CGI, and they don't really want to put the full effort into it or, make it look real. They do jump scares. But with this movie, a lot of time was put into the production of it. A lot of time and energy was put into the quality of the characters, which is really reflected with the Space Marines. One thing that this movie had going for it that I instantly loved was the fact that even though you've only met these characters for about maybe 10 or 15 minutes, you really get a sense that they do have camaraderie with each other, that they have a history, they have respect and love, that they can fuck around with each other and joke around. But you also get a sense of who each one of those characters are. There's this shoot, forgive me. When I rewatched the movie, I was half asleep. So all the work that I do, or the hours that I put in. But there's this female character. She's got really short hair, and she was kind of the tough guy type in this movie. And I enjoyed that aspect of it, because this movie had really strong female characters in it. They weren't really damsels in distress. Well, in fact, it's not. They weren't at all damsels in distress. They were full-fledged characters, and that's one thing I think this movie got right. That's also something I think the first one did really well, was flesh out all the characters, and this one more so. And again, anytime you can take one genre and kind of transfer it over into something else and make it unique, but at the same time, elevate it and yet show so much respect for source material, I think you've got a really high quality product. And that's what this movie did, and that's what this movie is. I think that's one reason why people nowadays, you talk to them about Alien, and they automatically know Space Marines, aliens, that this movie it had a huge impact upon the franchise. And I don't think that, although I do like Alien 3, and Alien Resurrection is kind of a guilty pleasure on some aspect, I think Alien and Aliens is pretty much it when it comes to this movie franchise. I don't think they've really topped it since then. Even with Prometheus, I don't think that they really held a light to these two. I think Alien and Aliens is a lot better than Prometheus. That's just my opinion. Of course, there are others out there who live and die by Prometheus, and that's fine. My view and experience doesn't diminish yours by any means. But when I look at perfect sequels, I think Terminator and Terminator 2 and Alien and Aliens, those are both just, you could stop both of those franchises from that point on and not see anything else and be like, these are two perfectly good movies. And Aliens, although you don't necessarily need to watch the first one to enjoy the second one or grasp what's going on, you can, again, watch it on its own and not have any idea of what Alien is. And it's pretty self-explanatory. And they're pretty quick on the action. They're pretty quick on, okay, we've established this world, let's just jump to the story. But again, it's one of those things where you don't have to have seen the previous movie to jump on at this point. And again, for as quick as the movie is, you don't lose anything if you haven't seen anything before. And that's something that these days gets lost in sequels. And by the end of the movie, you're cheering in the right spots. You're kind of your heart sinks in the in the right spots, especially where what's the loudmouth's name? It's on the tip of my tongue. Dang it, he's a famous actor. It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of the guy's name. Bill. I don't know. Someone comment. Let me know what it is. I apologize. Bill Paxton. That's it. Okay, good deal. I knew I'd think about it. I knew I'd get it. But he plays an awesome character in that. Like I said, loudmouth. And when that dude dies, like, you kind of have that tear going down your head. Like, oh, shit, dude, not him. That's the guy that you can all relate to. Awesome character. It's just, you get a real sense for all these characters. And that's what I think this movie really does right, besides respecting the source material, is it fleshes out characters in a realistic manner. They don't feel like characters, they feel like people. So I don't know, I really enjoyed the movie. I don't think anyone has ever talked shit on the movie. They may have liked the first one better, and again, if that's what your thing is, good. We all have different viewing experiences, but I've never seen anyone just flat out bash this movie. I think it's honestly not only one of the best sequels ever made, but I think it's honestly just a damn good movie. One of the best movies out there, especially for the action, adventure, / sci-fi. but it's definitely not a horror movie. At least I don't think it is. I really think of it as a action adventure. It's labeled under sci-fi, but I wouldn't necessarily label it that. But if you do label it under that, you're definitely going to be etching more toward the action adventure type mentality for this movie. Once again, like I said, anytime you can change things up, make it feel fresh, but yet contribute so much to that universe, you've got a good thing going. So, yeah, this movie was great. If you haven't watched it, watch it. Comment below. Let me know what you think of it. If you like the video, share. If you like any of my other videos, share. Comment on them. Let me know what you think, because I always like feedback. I just like bullshitting about movies. So, alright, guys. Keep on geeking on.